guys, Dimensional Hole update story. So today come to us gives us the developer's note for this dimensional hole. It's a part 1 of this dimensional update. We're going to take a look at it. Okay, so we have 2 videos on this dimensional hole thing. One is the developer interview, and there's another one that is dimensional hole update official trail. And in this dimensional hole update story, it mentioned about the new dimensions that they are gonna release soon. And there's also a secondary awakening. The secondary awakening is, they mentioned in the interview, is they are doing it for you can awaken your monsters one more time, but that's only applied to 2-star and 3-star monsters, so that they say in the interview, so that they will make those monsters usable again, right? So that's kind of interesting. I'm actually more excited about this secondary awakening. I mean, it will make, I know they're probably not gonna release all the monsters, the 3-star and 2-star monsters for the secondary awakening yet. They're gonna release them in batches, of course, in batches. But in the interview, they do mention about, I think they're gonna for the first update about dimensional hole, they are gonna release the secondary awakening for Inugami, Warbear, Fairy, and Pixie. Most probably those 4 first. They could release more, but I think they're gonna release those 4 first in their first update. Yes, upcoming update, probably. Okay, so now let's take a look at the developer's note, part 1. They didn't mention anything about secondary awakening in this update. Maybe on the next one. So this one, I've take a glance at this, and this mentioned that the dimensional hole is sort of a new area where you can farm for stuffs. Okay, so it uses a separate energy from the current energy. I think it's called dimensional energy, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Okay, it uses a different kind of energy, and the max you can store the energy is 100, and it recharges like 1 energy every 2 hours instead of the usual energy that refills like once every 5 minutes. So it recharges slowly, 1 every 2 hours. So that means in 1 day you only get 12. So to completely fill up this energy, you need like slightly more than 9 days. 100 divided by 12 is 8. Okay, slightly more than 8 days. 8 times 12 is 96, so slightly more than 8 days. 8 days, 8 hours to recharge fully from 0 to 100. And it says that and you only need 1 energy though. You only want 1 dimensional hole energy will be used in 1 battle of each dimension. So that's kind of fine, I guess, if it recharges in 2 hours. Well, I guess so. If for max 100 you can go for 100 times, if that's true. Okay, so that's good. That's why the dimension key point, the entrance limits, that's how they limit that, because what you get, the for the rewards that you get from this farming in the dimensional hole is, I think, is quite powerful. Okay, so they are gonna release 2 dimension first on their first dimensional hole update. Is Dimension Karzant and Dimension Illunia, and they have this special rules to enter this dimension. That in Dimension Karzant you could only use 4-star or lower grade monsters. So that's kind of interesting. So you gotta keep building those monsters that you have. You can't use 5-star in this. And for Dimension Illunia, you can only enter with the same attribute of the monster. So that means you can use 5 stars in this one. Okay, so that's kind of nice. So they make something that they make something new, PvE contents that force you to build more units again, like they're trying to do in the Siege battle, right? There's a 4-star only tower, 4-star and below. So that's kind of fun, I guess. So you make use of more monsters. And then the boss monsters, the new boss monsters, Ancient Guardians, there are 2 for those 2 dimensions. I don't know about their elements though. Do they have, in the dimension, do they have like level 1 to 10 like in Kairos? Probably, right? They're gonna have that. So they have different elements in those bosses? Probably. Okay, so it just says that they're gonna have 3 phases in the boss fight. So that means they have bosses fight. You just meet the bosses in 3 stages, and they will have different minions. I mean, for the bosses in Kairos, you usually have crystals, right, on the left and right. But this time they are gonna have summon monsters, where the bosses will have skills according to the summon monsters on their side for the different phases. You can read all that for the skills. Seems interesting. I mean, you need a unique way of how the bosses fight. Okay, I'm not gonna discuss this. Kind of interesting. And these are the summon monsters for the dimension in Illunia, but they haven't revealed the skills yet for these bosses of the Illunia, the dimension of Illunia. Okay, now so for the rewards, now this is the interesting one. The rewards will be Ancient Rune, Ancient Grindstone, and Ancient Gems. It's a new type of runes, but with kind of existing element like the Despair Rune, but the ancient version. So what's the difference about this is that they have, for the 6-star rune, this ancient rune will have this only applies to the substats, so the main stats remains the same for these ancient runes as the normal runes. For the substats, they have a higher minimum and a higher maximum for the starting substats, and it doesn't when you roll them, it has the same as the normal runes. So it just gives you a slight advantage, a slight stats from the normal runes. Like for the speed, you now can have 7, so you can have 1 more than the normal runes. Okay, but each time you roll them to like +3, +6, you still has the same amount of increase like the normal runes. So for every roll, you can only have a +6. So now the maximum is for quad roll on speed is 666 is 24. For normal runes is +30. Now with these ancient runes, it can go to +31, so 1 more speed. Does it make these runes OP? Not really. I mean, 1 speed can make a difference, but it's not overly powerful. Okay, so that's my opinion on it. But it's good to have a higher. It's good to have higher chance to get a more battle runes than the normal one, right? Okay. And then he said about the grindstone and the gems, also the same. Ancient Legends grindstone and Ancient Legend gems has the same minimum rolls that you can get, but it has a higher maximum roll that you can get. For speed, as you can see here, the maximum is 6, so you can get 1 more. So if you get like the perfect runes in normal runes is 30 plus 5 is 35. No. Yeah, correct, 35. So on these ancient runes with the grindstone, you can possibly get 7, 31, or more, 32. So 2 more speeds. Okay, and then the battle cure reward here, that's the type of rune that you can get. As you can see, you can't get all the type of runes that are currently in the game. So let's take a look at that. For the mentioned Kazan, you can only get Rage. Rage is from Necro. And you can get Blade is from Giant. Nemesis is from Necro. Endure and Energy. Endure is from Dragon. Energy is from Giants. So you got 2 types of rune from Giants, 1 type from Dragons, and 1 type from Necro. For Dimension Illunia, you're gonna get Despair from Giants. Accuracy is Focus from Dragons. Nemesis is Nemesis again. Nemesis is from Necro. Endure is from Dragons, and Wheel. So the runes that you get from this dimension, you got 3 types from Giant. You can't get Fatal. You can't get Swift. And from Dragons, the most important one, you can't get Violent Ancient runes. You can't get Guard. You can't get Seal. You can get Revenge. From Necro, you can't get Vampire and Destroy. Looking at this here, Necro will be the loser, I guess. I mean, no one will have the incentive to farm in Necro, right? I mean, the most important rune that you get from Necro is like Will, Rage probably. Nemesis also you can get from these 2 dimensions, so no one will ever farm Necro again. I mean, Vampire and Destroy, sometimes you use Vampire for a certain monster, but you don't usually go to Necro to farm Vampire and Destroy. So Necro's gonna be ignored, I guess. No one's gonna farm Necro. I mean, for Dragons, definitely they are still gonna farm Dragons because you want those Violence runes. You can get Violence runes from this dimensional hole. And for Giants, you still need those Swift runes. So no one's gonna neglect farming Giants, but Necro's gonna be the biggest loser from this update, I guess. So that's the end of the part 1 of Dimensional Hole update. In part 2, we'll talk about the more. Okay, so we'll have to wait for the part 2. So from this, I think probably they are not gonna release this like in a week from now, unless they come up with part 2 next week. We might get a chance for the Dimensional Hole update to be released on the mid-June, but I think it's probably gonna be released on the end of the month, most probably. And the interesting is they didn't mention anything about the new monsters that they teased earlier, right? The Vampire Lords or something, they didn't mention any of it here. So probably, I mean, from their patch update schedule, we're gonna have 1 patch update on mid-June and 1 more every two weeks, right? So 1 is on mid-June and another one probably late end of the month. So probably we're gonna get the Vampire Lords new monsters on the middle of the month, and then the Dimensional Hole on the end of the month, probably. And on the developers note, they didn't mention about the Awakening yet, the secondary Awakening yet. I'm more excited about that one because it says that it changes the skill sets of the monsters. So we're gonna have like more monsters to play with, 2-star and 3-star monsters. So what do you guys think about this Dimensional Hole? Are you excited about this? What do you think of the Ancient Runes and the Ancient Gems Grindstone? Do you think they are OP or just basically they're just stats, right? They add certain amounts to this set. They provide a little bit more than current runes, but you can't get the violence yet, but probably. But if they do get, you can farm like they still have other dimension in the Dimensional Hole, right? They only released 2. They could come out with more. And do you think you can farm for like Violent runes, Swift runes on the upcoming dimension that they're gonna release. But if they do that, then no one's gonna farm the regular Kairos dungeons anymore, right? There's no point farming that. And I'm not sure, they didn't say here. I think if the dimension Karazhan and Lunia, if they have like levels in the, I'm not sure whether they have like level 1, level 2 or level 10 like the Kairos dungeon. If they do, then that means you can get like, well, they only said rare, like rare. You can't get like normal. So, but how many stars can you get from these dungeons? Do you get like 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, 6 star? Or you only get 6 star? Probably they're gonna have 5 star, 4 star versions of these ancient runes, right? So that you would want to farm more. If you get only 6 star, then you definitely want to farm this more than the normal one. But of course you are limited, right? You only have like 100 energy runes that refills like 2 hours for each energy in this dimensional hole. Well, it's really interesting. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this update. And I'm more excited about the secondary awakening than the runes though. I mean, the runes is nice, it adds a bit more to the current rune set, but it's not overly, in my opinion, it's not overly OP. But it's still interesting that, and I'm looking forward to this update. And I hope you guys do too. Let me know what you guys think of this update. Do you think it will be good? Or do you think it will just meh, it's nothing special? Okay, so that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. Bye!